Chapter May There Be Good on Earth, Part 2.
The next morning, there was an emergency session of Russia's military council. Protection was organized around the settlement where Ivan Nikiforovich's homestead was located. The guards tried to be discreet, and the soldiers wore road worker uniforms. 5 kilometers from the settlement, on its outskirts, they allegedly began building a ring road. Building at every meter simultaneously, day and night. Television cameras were installed at Ivan's homestead to follow every minute of little Dasha's life. The picture was transmitted to a center resembling a spaceflight mission control center. Tens of specialists, psychologists, and military personnel, prepared to give the necessary instructions in the event of an emergency, kept continuously vigil at the monitors. Specialist psychologists, with the help of a special link, were constantly giving little Dasha's parents recommendations about how to distract her with something to keep her from falling into contemplation again. The Russian government made an international statement that seemed odd to many, which said that there were forces in Russia capable of exploding any type of armament, no matter where they were. These forces were not wholly under the control of the Russian government, but talks were being held with them. The unlikelihood of this statement demanded confirmation. An international council decided to manufacture a series of unusually shaped projectiles. They were manufactured with square cartridge cases. Each of the countries participating in the experiment took 20 of these projectiles and hid them in different places on their territory.
But why did they make the projectiles with square cartridge cases? Why couldn't they use ordinary ones?
Vladimir, they were afraid that not only all existing projectiles in the world might blow up, but also the bullets in the magazines of police and military guns, everyone carrying a weapon with ammunition.
Yes, of course. And how did the experiment with square projectiles go?
Ivan Nikiforovich called his little daughter Dasha into his study, showed her the photograph of the square projectile, and asked her to blow them up. Dasha looked at the photograph and said,
"I love you very much, Papa dear, but I can't carry out your request."
Why?
Even Nikiforovich was amazed.
"Because it won't work!"
Why won't it, Dashenka? It did before. You blew a whole series of modern missiles, but now it won't.
I was so upset then, Papa dear. I didn't want you to go away and sit so many hours at your computer. When you sit at your computer, you don't talk to anyone and don't do anything interesting. But now you're always nearby. You've become very good, dear Papa, so I can't make anything explode.
Ivan realized that Dasha was incapable of blowing up the square projectiles because the goal of blowing them up, the point, wasn't clear to her. Ivan paced agitatedly around his study, thinking feverishly about how to find a solution. He began heatedly trying to convince Dasha. He talked to his daughter as if he were reasoning with himself.
It won't work. Yes. That's too bad. There have been wars in the world for millennia. Wars ended between some, and others started to fight. Millions of people died then, and are dying now. Huge amounts of money were spent on weapons. There was an opportunity to put a stop to this endless, destructive process, but unfortunately...
Ivan looked at Dasha sitting in the chair. His daughter's face was calm. She watched with interest as he paced around his study and spoke. But the meaning of the words uttered did not upset Dasha. She did not completely realize what war was, what kind of money he was talking about, and who was spending it. She was thinking her own thoughts.
Why is Papa pacing around his study so upset among the unkind computers, which don't give out any energy? Why doesn't he want to go out into the orchard, where the trees are blooming and the birds are singing, where every blade of grass and every twig on the tree caresses your whole body with something invisible? Mama and my brother Kostya are there now. I hope Papa stops this boring talk so we can go out into the orchard together. When Mama and Kostya see them, they'll be so happy. Mama will smile, and yesterday Kostya promised to tell me how you can touch a distant star by touching a pebble or a flower. Kostya always keeps his promises.
Dashenka, am I boring you? Do you not understand what I've said? Are you thinking your own thoughts?
Papa dear, I'm thinking, why are you and I here and not in the orchard where everything is waiting for us?
Ivan realized he needed to speak more sincerely and specifically with his daughter. so he began.
Dashenka, when you blew up the missiles by looking at their picture, the idea was born to verify your abilities one more time. Or rather, to show the whole world Russia's ability to destroy all the armaments in the world. Then there would be no point producing them. No point and dangerous. People themselves would destroy those already made. Universal disarmament would begin. The square projectiles were manufactured specifically so that you could demonstrate your abilities without anyone dying in the process. Blow them up, Dashenka.
I can't do that now, Papa dear.
Why? You could before and now you can't.
I promised myself never to blow anything up again. And since I promised, I don't have the ability to blow anything up now.
You don't? But why did you promise yourself?
Brother Kostya showed me pictures in his book of how people's bodies fly to pieces from explosions, how people are scared of explosions, how trees fall and die from explosions. So I promised myself.
Dashenka, does that mean you can never do it now? Even just one more time? Just one. These square projectiles here.
Ivan held out a photograph of the square projectile to his daughter.
They were manufactured especially in hidden and secluded places in different countries. There aren't any people next to them or even nearby. Everyone is waiting to see whether or not they'll blow up. Blow them up, daughter. This will not be breaking your promise. No one will perish. On the contrary,
Dasha looked at the photograph of the square projectile again indifferently and replied calmly.
If I take back my promise, those projectiles still won't blow up, Papa dear.
But why?
Because you talk too much, Papa dear. And when I looked at the photograph, I immediately disliked those square goblins. They're ugly and now...
What now? Dashenka, what?
Forgive me, please, Papa dear. But you talked so much after you showed them to me that since then, they've been almost entirely eaten up.
Eaten up? What's been eaten up?
These square projectiles are nearly eaten up. As soon as I didn't like the projectiles, I could tell. They had been set in motion and started eating them very, very fast.
Who are they?
Oh, the little ones. They're around us everywhere and inside us. They're good. Kostya says they're bacteria or microorganisms, but I'd rather call them my nice little ones. They like that more. Sometimes I play with them. People pay almost no attention to them, but they always try to do something good for each person. When a person rejoices, the joyous energy makes him feel good. When a person is angry or breaks something living, they perish in great numbers. Others rush to take the place of those who have perished. Sometimes others do not manage to replace the dead, and the human body falls ill.
But you are here, Dashenka, and the missiles are hidden far away underground in different countries. How could they, well, these little ones, learn of your desire so quickly in other countries?
Oh, they tell each other everything in a chain, a lot faster than the electrons run in your computer.
My computer, communication. Just a second. I'm going to verify everything. Video cameras have been installed around every missile on our territory. I'll be just a second.
Ivan turned toward his communication computer. The image of a square projectile glowed on the monitor. Or rather, what was left of the projectile. The cartridge case was rusty and full of holes, and the warhead was lying nearby and significantly smaller. Ivan switched screens, but the same thing had happened to the other projectiles. The image of a man in military uniform appeared on the screen.
Hello, Ivan Nikiforovich. You yourself have already seen everything.
What conclusions has the council drawn?
The council members have divided up into groups and are consulting. Security is trying to work out additional safety measures for the site.
Don't call my daughter a site.
You're nervous, Ivan Nikiforovich, and in this situation, that is impermissible. In 10 minutes, an expert group consisting of leading specialists, psychologists, biologists, and radio-electronic specialists will be joining you. They are already en route. Set up the communication with your daughter. Prepare her.
What opinion are most of the council members inclined towards?
For now, toward your family's total isolation within the bounds of your homestead. You must immediately clear out all images of technical devices, remain by your daughter's side, and try to keep a constant watch on her.
The group of specialists from the military council who arrived at Ivan's homestead spoke with little Dasha for an hour and a half. The child patiently answered the adults' questions, but after an hour and a half, something happened that completely confused all the specialists present at the homestead and all those observing what was happening from the Security Council Center on huge monitors. After an hour and a half of talking with little Dasha, the door of Ivan's expansive study opened. Dasha's brother Kostya walked into the study. He was carrying the cuckoo clock, which was cuckooing continuously. Kostya put the clock on the desk. The clock's hands were at 11, and when the mechanical cuckoo was supposed to finish the specific number of cuckoos, the big hand on the clock quickly circled the clock face, and the cuckoo started over from the beginning. In silence, those present looked at the clock's bizarre movements, and then Dasha, baffled.
Oh, I completely forgot. I have to go take care of something important. It's my friend Veronka who's spinning the hands. That's what we agreed. If I forgot, I have to go.
2 guards blocked the exit from the study.
What will you forget, Dashenka?
Ivan Nikiforovich asked his daughter.
I forgot to go to the homestead where my friend Veronka lives and stroke her little flower and water it. Otherwise it's sad without caressing. It likes to be looked at tenderly.
But the flower isn't yours after all. Why can't your friend stroke it herself? Her own flower.
Papa dear, Veronka and her parents went on a visit.
A visit where?
Somewhere in Siberia.
Exclamations by those present, uttered nearly in a whisper, were heard on all sides.
She's not the only one. What abilities does your friend have?
She's not the only one.
How many are there?
How can they be determined?
We must take immediate measures for each such child.
All the exclamations subsided as soon as an elderly, graying man sitting at the edge rose from his seat. This man was senior in rank and position, not only among the people present in Ivan Nikiforovich's study. He was chairman of the Russian Security Council. Everyone turned toward him and fell silent. The grey-haired man looked at Dasha sitting in her little wooden armchair, and a tiny tear rolled down his cheek. Then the grey-haired man slowly walked up to Dasha, dropped to one knee before her, and reached out to her. Dasha stood up, took a step, and picked up the hem of her skirt, dropped a curtsy and put her little hand in his palm. The grey-haired man looked at her for a while, then bowed his head, and respectfully kissed Dasha's hand, said,
Forgive us, please, little goddess.
My name is Dasha.
Yes, of course, your name is Dasha. Tell us, what must be on our earth?
The little girl looked with surprise into the elderly man's face, drew close to him, cautiously wiped the little tear from his face with her palm, and touched his mustache with her finger. Then she turned toward her brother.
Kostya, you promised to help me with the lilies in Veronka's pond. Do you remember your promise? Yes, I remember,
Kostya answered.
Then let's go. Let's go.
Dasha stopped at the doorway after passing the guards, who had parted before her, turned to the man still kneeling on one knee, smiled at him, and said confidently,
What must be on earth is goodness.
6 hours later, speaking at an expanded session of the Russian Security Council, the grey-haired chairman said,
Everything in the world is relative. Relative to our generation. The new one is akin to God. We must come even with it, not it with us. All the military might of the planet, with its unique technical achievements, proved powerless before this one little girl of the new generation. Our task, our duty, and our obligation before this new generation is to clear away the trash. We must apply all our efforts toward clearing the earth of all weaponry, our technical achievements, and the discoveries embodied in the most modern and, as we thought, unique military complexes turned out to be unnecessary junk in the face of the new generation. And we have to clear it away.
End of chapter. Join us for the next segment of Who Are We? Book 5 of the Ringing Cedars series, The Disarmament Race.